Hello book lovers and welcome back or welcome to Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. Today I am here to see how I did on my These Books Will Self-Destruct challenge. Alright, so I believe back in January of 2022, I selected 7 books that have been on my shelf for a while, books that I just wasn't really gravitating towards anymore, and I put them on a self-destruct list. Meaning if I didn't read them within the next year, by July of 2023, I would unhaul them. I got the idea for this video from Becca and the books. I will go ahead and link the original video up above, but this video is just me going through those and seeing if I did end up reading them and whether I enjoyed them or not. This should be a relatively quick video because I'm not really gonna go into what the books are about. Alright, so the first book that I put on this list was The Glass Palace by Amitav Ghosh, and I have not read this book. I haven't put it on any TBRs. I haven't tried to put it on any TBRs either. I have to admit, one of the things that attracted me to this book was the fact that it is in a non-Western setting. However, it is slightly magical realism and historical, which are two genres that I don't gravitate towards very often. So I'm not overly surprised that I never reached for this book, and I have a feeling that I just never will, so I am not too upset about having to get rid of it. A few of these books I will of course see if my mom is interested in them. She has a different taste than I do, so this may be something that she likes. Otherwise, at this point, the books will most likely go into the free little library in our neighborhood. The second book on this list is definitely the one that I kind of had to think a little bit about if I actually wanted to get rid of it or not, and that is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. And no, I have not read this and I have not reached for it either. J. Kristoff seems to be an author that some people like and some people dislike. I think he might have some controversy around him. I have to admit, despite occasionally hearing good things about this series, my interest in it has faded and isn't appearing to want to return or anything like that. Same goes with other books by this author. I just think, seeing as he may have some problems revolving around him and I'm not super interested in his books, there's no reason for me to really hold on to them and force myself to try them. So I think I am going to go ahead and get rid of this book. I do absolutely love the covers, but I have to admit, oftentimes grim dark series don't really call to me. I need a little bit of joy, a little bit of levity, a little bit of romance or something in a book to keep me going, and I think these are darker, so I'm just gonna go ahead and unhaul it. It is a relatively popular series, so hopefully someone who enjoys the author's work already will get it in their hands and enjoy it more than I think I would. The third book on this list is The Confessions of a Young Nero by Margaret George. As you can see, I started this book and got to page 20, and then I proceeded to put it down and never picked it up or thought of it again. It has been sitting next to my bed for a bit over a month now. I think I started it a little bit before my trip to Germany, and unfortunately this is a historical book about an actual historical person, and I am just not really drawn to that kind of genre. A lot of times it has to do with the fact that it makes me feel kind of dumb, if I'm being honest. I mean, I find history very interesting, but it's not something I know a ton about. I kind of know overarching events, large events, and kind of the general timeline that our world has taken, but knowing any details about this king of Rome or Emperor of Rome, I should say, and any of the events revolving around him. I don't, and reading books like this makes me feel like I'm missing something, like I'm not getting the full story or everything out of the story that I should be because I don't know those things. And honestly, sometimes I just get a little bored with stories like this. So yeah, started it, have no desire to finish it, and we'll go ahead and unhaul it. Book number 4 was a success story, so I'm really glad that I got to this book, and that is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. You can see the other books in the series behind me because I read it in its entirety and enjoyed the entire series. I really enjoyed the author's writing. I really enjoyed her characters. I was rooting for them. I was really attached to them. I always talk about how Audrey is like my daughter, and I was just rooting for her to find her way in this world, despite the fact that she was hoping to become a forensic scientist in a time where women were expected to just kind of be housewives and not take part in such grimy work. I had put this on this list because I'd heard, you know, not the greatest things about it, but it really worked well for me, and I'll definitely be checking out work from this author in the future. And for the second to last book, we have Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. This was 100% a cover buy. I absolutely love this color, like the little golden snails all over it, and I just really love this color blue. I have to admit, even when I was picking up this book, I was not interested in the synopsis. So I really am usually not a cover buy girly, and clearly when I do it, it doesn't work out that well for me. I believe this was kind of like a mystery, maybe slight magical realism story, which are two things that I'm not often really interested in. Thinking on it, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like The Apothecary, which was a book I DNF'd, so I have even less interest in this. This is a brand new book. I bought it brand new, so hopefully someone finds this and considers it a gem and loves it, but that person is not going to be me. All right, and the final one is a chonker, and that is Beneath the Scarlet Sky by Mark Sullivan. I believe this is a World War II book, and she's thick. World War II books are not really my thing. Do I think they're overdone? Yes. I understand that World War II is like an interesting backdrop to a story, but I just feel like I've read enough books, seen enough movies, learned about it in school, watched documentaries about this, that I just don't have any interest in revisiting it. Obviously, I think it's a time in history that needs to be discussed, you know, as all times in history need to be discussed. But these books are usually a bit more slow moving. They're a bit more focused on characters or historical events and things that I personally am not as interested in. So especially a book this long, it was never going to be something I read. I bought it at a used bookstore while I was traveling. I was feeling mature and wanted to reflect that in my reading choices, but at the end of the day, I just have to admit, these aren't the kind of books that I'm really drawn to, so I will see if my mom's interested in it because she does like historical, but otherwise someone else will get to it because I do think this is a relatively well-beloved story, so hopefully someone finds it and enjoys it. All right, guys, a real quick video. Those were the 6 books that I selected for this challenge. I do think I'm going to try and do it again. I have not thought about which books I want to use yet, so hopefully I get to it either this month or next month, because I do have some books that have been sitting on my shelves for longer than I would like them to. I usually try to roll over books relatively quickly because I do know that my reading taste changes from time to time, so I want to get to the books when I'm actually interested in them. But let me know down below if you guys do anything like this. Do you guys do a self-destruct list, or do you kind of say once a book has been on your shelf for 3 years, it's gotta go because obviously you're just not getting to it, or do you just leave books on your shelves forever and ever because who knows, maybe one day you'll need it, just like those wires in that box that no one talks about. Thank you guys, as always, for supporting my channel by watching my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!